Hi, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us today for our bullet journal program. I'm Laura. I work in adult services in the library, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Michelle, who works at Paxton and will be presenting the bullet journal program today. So if you were able to register for this program, you picked up a really nifty bullet journal that you might have home with you, ready and willing to go. But if you didn't, this program is still perfect for you because you can learn all about the ins and outs of bullet journaling and how it can work for your life. So if at any point you have comments, questions, or ideas, please feel free to comment them and we'll get to them. But I think I've done my part, Michelle. So if you're ready, I'm excited to see your bullet journal.
Hello, I'm Michelle, and I'm going to walk through bullet journaling with you and just really simple planner things. A bullet journal can be anything that you want it to be. It can be a scrapbook, it can be sketches, it can be really anything to organize your life. But I am going to go through more of a planner type of bullet journal. But you can change it to adapt anything that you want it to be. But we can start whenever. And I'm going to show you what I have. So when you're starting a bullet journal, and what's really cool with the bullet journals in our kit is that you can customize the front page if you'd like. I didn't customize mine, but you can leave it blank. They're really pretty colors, or you can customize it. One of the first things you might want to do is just have a page where you say, hey, this bullet journal belongs to me. If you find it, please contact me. It's where I have, all of my to-do in there. And that's totally up to you if you don't want to do that. The next page that I recommend is making a grid page. So when you do bullet journaling, as you see, we have dot pages. And the dot grids really help you to keep things on center, to put things in the, if you want something in the middle of the page, you'd have to know where the middle of the page is. So to help with that is to make a grid page. And the way you might want to do it is to number out the squares on your page. So if you go to each square in each box and just count from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and onward, we can make a grid of how big our pages are. So across the top, there are 16 squares. And if you go down, there will be 25 squares. By doing this, we can help ourselves in the future when we say, hey, I want to split my page in half. Well, if we go to the cross, the top, we know that there's 16 squares. So halfway would be 8 squares. And that way, if you decide I want to split it in half, you can go to your grid page and see, okay, 8 is halfway through, and you know where to mark your line. Or if you want to do it in quarters, you can be like, okay, across the top we have 16 squares. A quarter would be 4 squares. And it just makes it much simpler for you to later graph things. And I like to put a note where the halfway mark is, and a note where a quarter is, and that way at a glance you can look, oh, there's a quarter of the page. If it helps you, you could also write horizontally. Half is at the 8 spaces mark. A quarter is 4 squares. And then to divide it in thirds, we get a little bit trickier. But third way would be 5 1/3 of a square. And when I say horizontal, I'm referring to this. And then vertical is our numbers going down the page. Vertically, the halfway point is 2.5 squares. A quarter is 6 1/4 square. And a third would be 8 1/3 square. And that'll just help us as we go along to map out everything that we need to do. While you guys are finishing that up, I'm going to talk about the key. So the bullet journal method is a book we have at the library if you'd like to check it out. But Ryder Carroll is the author, and he is known for creating the bullet journal community, and kind of the first one who decided that, why do I have all these notebooks for different things? Why do I have a notebook for school, and then a notebook for work, and then a notebook for just my ideas? And he couldn't get them all straight, so he thought, let's just put them all in one. And he created a key where he created symbols, little shorthand symbols, so that he could quickly say, oh, okay, this is a note. A circle, that means I have an event. A colored in circle is a task that I need to get done. If he X'd out that bullet, he knew that he had completed the task. A right arrow means that that task had been moved to another day. A left arrow means that, hey, go look back at your future log and see when that task or that event has been scheduled. And then if you put a line through it, it just meant, hey, this task really wasn't that relevant, or it's expired, or it's no longer meaningful. And you can make any key that you want. You don't have to follow this key, but it's just a way to start if you'd like. If you'd like to take from it, if you'd like to make your own key, if you don't even want a key at all, that's totally fine. That's what's cool about bullet journaling. You can make it anything that you want it to be. I'm also going to show you a yearly log. So this is a year at a glance kind of thing. I've divided it into 2 pages. Since we have 12 months to make 6 months on each page. And this is where that halfway point comes in handy, because we're like, okay, we're going to divide it into 3 months vertically. So if you go halfway, you can make a divide in the middle, and then you can split your months up so that you know that each box is even. But this is a yearly log is meant to say, okay, Sarah invited me to her wedding in August, but I haven't made a monthly spread of August yet. I don't have anywhere to put that in my bullet journal. So the yearly log allows you to put, okay, in months in advance, I know on the 23rd of August, Sarah's getting married, and I want to remember to put it down so that when the time comes for me to make August's monthly log, I'll have that ready and prepared.
Looks great.
Now, there are different ways to do a monthly log. If you want to do a standard, like a standard calendar, I found that it was easier to take your kit and do it horizontally. My graph here is 3.5 by 3 dot squares. So going down the line, these are all 3. Because our along the top we have 16 squares, and leaving a square between the spine just gives you a little extra space, and you can go 3 by 3 since there's 5 weeks in March. And then going across, since we have 7 days in the week, we can divide this up equally, 3.5 grid spaces. And then this just allows you to use it just like a regular calendar. There's another way to do a calendar. Some people like to take their calendar and just write the day and write it down on a line. So March 1st, it was on a Monday, and just go down the line. And let's say you have a hair appointment today, and you put that in. It's a really simple way of just writing, a really quick monthly log. If you don't want to take all the time to graft everything out and take your ruler or anything like that, you can simply just write the numerical day, and right beside it, write any event that you have. So let's say that you had your hair appointment, but then you realized you weren't going to make it, so you wanted to move it. This is where Writer Carol's key comes in. You can make a right arrow and migrate it to the next day. That's part of the key that he used. If you don't have space to do that, you can always make a little asterisk and then write down below whatever it is that you need to add.
I love that the way you're showing it, it's so customizable. So however, kind of, if you're a visual person, you can have that calendar. If you're more a list maker, then you can use those symbols to write down your list. I love that.
And there's always, if there's ever, there's another book, the Dot Journal for Beginners, we have in our library as well, and it shows a lot of, I wasn't able to get it today, but it shows a lot of examples of different ways to do spreads. There's no right or wrong way to do it.
Right.
Another thing that bullet journaling is known for is habit trackers and mood trackers. So a habit tracker is just if you want to record, you want to start drinking 6 cups of water a day. So you write down all the days of the month, and then every time that you do that thing, you can fill out. You can either, scratch it off, make an X through it. If you want to add some color and some pop to your journal, you can highlight it or color it. And then you can have this place to record and say, okay, this entire week I was diligent in drinking 6 cups of water and I obtained that goal. There you can just make a simple graph. Some people like to make little mini calendars. They like to see that the first was on a Monday and that this is the first week. Okay, well, maybe you weren't diligent in doing 15 minutes of yoga the first week, but the next week you really got on it and you can see the progress that you made there. Other people also do just a chart where they have all their habits in a line and the days of the week across, and they just make little notes as time goes on, where other people like to divide their habit trackers into 2. So like they want to have one that's for yoga and one that's for drinking water. But other people like to have all their habits together, and that's totally up to you. Another thing that the bullet journaling community likes to do is mood trackers. So I tried to make it a little bit more creative than just a chart, because you can do the same thing with a mood tracker as a habit tracker. You can write out the days of the month and maybe color them a different color depending on what mood you are. So let's say you are having a really good day, so you decide that happy is yellow. And so March 1st, you were really happy, so you colored in yellow. Some people like to do that. Other people like to, depending on the month, make a theme. So since this month has St. Patrick's Day in it, I thought I'd make some clovers. And you can number whatever it is that you've drawn, and that can be equivalent to the day. And if you want to, I was trying to find some colored pencils and I couldn't find any. But let's say happy was really dark green, and on the 1st I was really happy, so I did a dark green. And then the next day I did a light green because it wasn't a really good day. And then at the end of the month, you can look and see a really, really colorful display of your moods throughout the month, which is kind of cool and exciting. So we've gone over the yearly log, doing a monthly log, but there's also weekly logs. And this is where you can put your week at a glance. So let's say we're going to do next week, and we're just going to map it out. You can make this as simple or as complex as you'd like it to be. You can make it as simple as just writing, let me do this. You can make it as simple as just writing Monday and then writing all your tasks. Or you can make boxes and use your grid and see that, okay, we're going to divide this into 7 because there's 7 days in the week. And you can make boxes, or you can make a running list. I have on the side here, I decided to make a weekly task box so that you can map out, like, okay, I know that this week I need to go to the bank and I need to buy a gift for Adam and I need to write a thank you to David. And even those don't go to specific days, you can go, okay, and you can delegate it out into whatever day it works best in, as well as filling out things that need to be done that day. And you can just play around with how you want to set it up. I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Some people like to just put weekend instead of Saturday and Sunday. But by doing that, by putting weekend, you give yourself more room for each day. Or if you know there's a day that you're just, it's not particularly busy for you, you don't have to put that on there. You can also, if you want to, you can just write out the day and go from there. Some people like to draw to liven up their spreads and add some more flair to each one so it doesn't look just black and white. Then there's what we call an hourly log. And I really like hourly logs. I think they really keep me on track. But you just write the day, whatever day you're on, and then write what hour it is. So let's say we wake up at 9. We're going to put 9 in one of the boxes. We're going to skip a box and then put 10. And then skip a box and then put 11, and so on. Also, if you don't like using a pencil, you can go back in and use pen and make it bolder. But you definitely want to start out using pencil just because it can get, it's easier to erase something if you mess up than you have to go back and scribble it out with your pen.
Right.
But also know that even if you do mess up, that's totally normal. With bullet journaling, there's going to be so many mistakes. You are customizing your own journal, and no one's perfect. There will be mistakes, and that's okay. If you make a mistake, you can make a doodle from it. Or if it's, too bad, you can just skip the page, and that's okay. There are plenty of pages to try again. But with an hourly log, you can write what you want done each hour of the day. So it's sort of like a schedule. So let's say we want to wake up at 8:30. So that's what that space in between the 8 and 9 is. It allows you to go by intervals of half an hour. So we're going to write, okay, we're going to wake up at 8:30, and at 9, I want to be dressed because at 9:30, I have a meeting. And this helps you really break down your day and your tasks. So you can go from your weekly tasks and say, okay, on Monday, I have a meeting and I have my exam, but I also need to get laundry done. There's so many chaotic things going on. This really helps you say, okay, my meeting's at 9:30. My test is at 2, and I have a lot of time in the evening to do laundry, and this is when I need to divide these tasks up. So the hourly log really lets you break down your day if you want to do it that way.
And I think that's great for people who can get overwhelmed easily by a lot of tasks. If you break them down into steps and have that visual reminder of what you have to do, and you can cross it off when you're done, I think that's going to work great for some people.
And then I have a little page of just standard doodles. I know not everybody feels comfortable with doodling, but there are a few little doodles that are really simple to do that can add a lot of character to your page. One of them is just a simple little plant looking thing. If you just make a curved line and then little circles for leaves, and you just follow that curved line and just keep making little leaves, you can have a little plant that looks like that. And you can put it all over your page, and you can make it as long or as tiny as you want it to be. You could do an arrow, which would just be like a straight line, a triangle at the tip, and then 4 triangles to make the little wings, the little Fletcher. If you want to make a feather, you can just do a line and then make little ridges around it. If you'd like to do a rose, you can make a circle. And right under it, make a little oval. And then around it, just make little ridges, little curvy lines. And just keep doing that and let it grow outside of that original circle you made. You can find any sort of doodles online, or if you want to check out a book from our library of simple doodles, you can do that as well and just add some character to your bullet journal. And I will show you. People also like to do cover pages where they draw something. So like you can make just a page where you just have something already, you can just make doodles, or you can label, your month and just go from there. But yeah, that's what's really neat about bullet journaling is it can be doodles, it can be weekly spreads, monthly spreads. If you only ever use hourly spreads and you don't want a whole month, you don't have to do that. It's totally up to you. And that's what's really, really neat about it. But I think if anything's the most important, it's your grids page because it allows you to know, okay, I want to center this box and I want it to only be so big or so little. But yeah. And then are there any questions?
Yes. Thank you so much, Michelle. That was awesome. I bullet journal a little bit, but even I learned some stuff from you, so that's great. One question we have, let me show it on here, is where did you get paper to make the journals? And I think you can expand this to also, let's say you already have a journal and you from the library and you run out, you use it, you love it so much. Where can people find bullet journals to buy?
You can get bullet journals. Well, and you can get any sort of journal. It can be a notebook. It can be line paper. It can be a sketchbook with no dots. But you can get it. You can get them at Hobby Lobby. At any sort of craft store will have any dot grids available.
Great. We had another question.
These journal pages were made for us by our graphic designer at the library. And she said that we could actually post the file for this
Oh, great.
in this event so people can print them off on their own if they want to.
Oh, that's awesome. See, next question is, can you do grocery lists for this?
Of course. You can definitely make a grocery list. And you can just have, if you ever want to make just one page that, says grocery items and you just put down everything that you normally get, you can just have one page every time you go to the grocery.
Right.
And that way you're not constantly rewriting grocery lists.
Right. I used to be the person that would put all the things I needed on an app. But with Mass, my phone doesn't recognize my face when I'm in the store. So I've actually gone back to writing them down, and it's so much more useful now with everything going on. I have a question. So I saw I think it's your personal journal where you drew your cover pages, and that was so beautiful. So where do you suggest people get inspiration if they are creative, if they are artistically gifted?
I started learning about bullet journaling from Amanda Rachel Lee on YouTube.
Okay.
And she really breaks down how she does a bullet journal. And she will, she'll do like a quotes page. And these are all quotes from a book that I read that I really liked.
Yeah.
But then she'll do a cover page and a monthly page and then a weekly page. And she really breaks down what that looks like. So if you want to look into it more or see someone who does really, really creative designs, Amanda Rachel Lee is one that I would really suggest off of YouTube.
Great. And I looked up earlier things you could do with this. You could do the grocery list, like the question. You could do spending habits. Maybe when we go on vacations again, you can have a little tracker for saving for a vacation. One thing I thought was great was a cleaning calendar. So if you have a family and everyone has different chores, you can keep track of what you're responsible for, maybe what your kids are responsible for. And I know, Michelle, you might do one too. I do a reading tracker, and I put little stickers and washi tape in mine just to track the books I'm reading.
I have a page where, I also have a birthday tracker.
Oh, that's great.
Which is pretty neat. But I have a page of all the books that I want to read, and I have them divided by genre.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really neat.
Another thing that would be perfect is to write down library books you want to check out, library holds you have, and things like that, or ideas or programs that you want to attend. And let me see if I have any other questions. So if you are really get into bullet journaling, do you have any recommendations for where people can look online or in person to find supplies like markers or tape or anything like that?
I know Hobby Lobby has definitely been my best friend in bullet journaling. They've really offered a lot of good pens. Their my favorite pen for bullet journaling is the Faber-Castell, and it's just it really it has a really good consistency and a really smooth flow. But really, it can be anything. It can be any sort of writing utensil. And depending on what journal you have. So with our journals, it's definitely probably the best to use a pen or a colored pencil, just so that your marker doesn't bleed through on the other side. Because you don't want to make this elaborate design and then find out on the next page you can't see anything that you had written. But if you get another type of bullet journal, some people will even do paint color or more inky type of markers. So you just want to keep in mind what kind of consistency your paper is, just so that it doesn't bleed through.
And that's something that someone who's new to bullet journaling might not have thought of. And so you save them from ruining their masterpiece. Well, I think that's all the comments and questions we have now. I'm sure that if you have any further questions, you could reach out to Michelle. She'd be happy to help you. We have one more before we go. And this is a great question. Michelle, how long have you been bullet journaling?
I have been bullet journaling since 2019.
Great.
So I've been bullet journaling for 2 years now.
Awesome. And that I'm sure how you've used your bullet journal has changed, and you've really found a way to make it work with your job and other kinds of responsibilities you have, and just fun stuff you track too.
You definitely, in the beginning, you don't want to, if you look up a bunch of bullet journaling tutorials, a lot of people have made this very artistic. And they're really, really complex designs. And when you're beginning, you don't feel pressure to make super complex designs. Make it as simple as possible. Learn how it works for you, and then start adding designs in. Because if you start pressuring yourself in the beginning, it might get overwhelming.
Right. That's such great advice, because it can be overwhelming to see some of these great things people have. But like for mine, I don't know if you can see this, Michelle, I just record what I'm reading and color it in like a little progress bar, and that works for me. But well, thank you, Michelle. I think that's all the time we have today. Like Michelle said, if you want to check out any books on bullet journaling, you can look through our library catalog or call or reach out to us, and we can help hook you up with one of these books.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone.